Dear students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. A. Vijay Chitra, Assistant Professor, Department of Microbiology, Sri Narayana Guru College, Coimbatore. Students, today we are going to see the module on aerobic processes which are used in treating of wastewater with special emphasis on the systems such as activated sludge, oxidation ditches, trickling filters and rotating drums. The biological process for wastewater, it includes both aerobic and anaerobic treatment. In aerobic treatment or process, the microorganisms, they utilize the oxygen to degrade the organic matter and other pollutants present in the wastewater. Depending upon the organic load and the type of pollutant, different treatments are used. Aerobic systems, they use either fixed film designs or continuous flow or suspended growth aerobic systems. The most commonly used aerobic treatment process is the activated sludge. In the attached growth systems, the most commonly used one in wastewater treatment are the trickling filters and rotating biological contactors. So today we are going to see in detail about the process and the other parameters which are involved in this aerobic process. In the aerobic process, the most commonly used one for the treatment of the industrial wastewater is the activated sludge. What is activated sludge? Activated sludge is a biological process which is used to treat sewage or industrial wastewater. This process, it reduces the organic load of the wastewater, converting part of the organic matter into microbial biomass and part is oxidized into carbon dioxide and water. During growth and as well by aeration process, individual organisms, they clump together to form an active mass of microbes which we call it as floc, is called as activated sludge. Next, we are going to see the process of the activated sludge. The first step in activated sludge process is the aeration of wastewater. Air, it mixes with the wastewater and microorganisms so that oxygen is provided to the microbes for growth. Mixture of microbes or activated sludge and wastewater is called mixed liquor. The second step is the solid liquid separation. Mixed liquor, it flows from the aeration tank to clarifier. In the clarifier, the biomass in the form of flocculant sludge, it settles down. And the third step is the discharge of treated effluent. The effluent which is treated will be discharged and the sludge will be remaining. Now, the fourth step is the return of settled sludge to aeration tank. So, part of the sludge which comes out of this process is returned to the aeration tank to maintain the high population of microbes. This portion of floc which is returned is called as the return sludge. The fifth step is the disposal of the remaining activated sludge. So, excess activated sludge is sent to the disposal or sludge handling system for treatment in order to maintain the proper amount of microorganisms to efficiently degrade the BOD. Thereby, the main purpose of disposal is to maintain appropriate concentration of sludge in aeration system. The discarded microorganisms, they are called as the waste activated sludge. Now students, you can see the flow part or the flow diagram of this activated sludge. First, from the effluent enters into the aerator. In the aerator, the effluent gets aerated and then it passes on to the secondary settling tank. During this process of aeration, there will be growth of microorganisms or new microorganisms will be produced during this process and thereby the effluent will be treated and this effluent will be sent to the secondary settling tank. In the secondary settling tank, the sludge will get settled and part of this sludge which is settled, it will be taken back to the aerator and the excess or the remaining sludge will be disposed or it will be taken to a digester for further process. And from the secondary settling tank, the effluent will be taken to further treatment or to the stream. So this is the process of activated sludge. Now students, you can see the flow part or the flow diagram of this activated sludge. First, from the effluent enters into the aerator. In the aerator, the effluent gets aerated and then it passes on to the secondary settling tank. During this process of aeration, there will be growth of microorganisms or new microorganisms will be produced during this process, and thereby the effluent will be treated and this effluent will be sent to the secondary settling tank. In the secondary settling tank, the sludge will get settled, and part of this sludge which is settled, it will be taken back to the aerator, and the excess or the remaining sludge will be disposed or it will be taken to a digester for further process. And from the secondary settling tank, the effluent will be taken to further treatment or to the stream. So this is the process of activated sludge. Microorganisms, so that oxygen is provided to the microbes for growth. Mixture of microbes or activated sludge and wastewater is called mixed liquor. The second step is the solid liquid separation. Mixed liquor, it flows from the aeration tank to clarifier. In the clarifier, the biomass in the form of flocculant sludge, it settles down. And the third step is the discharge of treated effluent. The effluent which is treated will be discharged and the sludge will be remaining. Now, the fourth step is the return of settled sludge to aeration tank. So, part of the sludge which comes out of this process is returned to the aeration tank to maintain the high population of microbes. This portion of floc which is returned is called as the return sludge. The fifth step is the disposal of the remaining activated sludge. So, excess activated sludge is sent to the disposal or sludge handling system for treatment in order to maintain the proper amount of microorganisms to efficiently degrade the BOD. Thereby, the main purpose of disposal is to maintain appropriate concentration of sludge in aeration system. The discarded microorganisms, they are called as the waste activated sludge. Now students, you can see the flow part or the flow diagram of this activated sludge. First, from the effluent enters into the aerator. In the aerator, the effluent gets aerated and then it passes on to the secondary settling tank. During this process of aeration, there will be growth of microorganisms or new microorganisms will be produced during this process, and thereby the effluent will be treated and this effluent will be sent to the secondary settling tank. In the secondary settling tank, the sludge will get settled, and part of this sludge which is settled, it will be taken back to the aerator, and the excess or the remaining sludge will be disposed or it will be taken to a digester for further process. And from the secondary settling tank, the effluent will be taken to further treatment or to the stream. So this is the process of activated sludge. Normally, always a balance is maintained between the growth of new organisms and their removal by wasting. If more sludge is wasted, the concentration of microorganisms in the mixed liquor will be low, which will ultimately affect the treatment process. If only a small amount of sludge is wasted, then large concentration of microorganisms will accumulate and it will reach the secondary tank and also into the receiving stream. So, efficient operation of activated sludge process, it requires a constant supply of oxygen which can be provided by mechanical aeration or through the use of rotating paddles. And coming to the types of activated sludge, many modifications in the conventional activated sludge process are carried out so that it addresses specific treatment process. Among the different types, we have the conventional plug flow, complete mix, tapered aeration, step feed aeration, modified aeration, contact stabilization, extended aeration, and high rate aeration. What is a conventional plug flow type? So in this, the wastewater and the recycled activated sludge, they enter the head of the aeration tank. The influent and recycled activated sludge, they are mixed by diffused air or mechanical aeration, and aeration is uniform throughout the tank. Adsorption, flocculation, and oxidation of organic matter occurs during the aeration process. Next, coming to the second type or the other type, we have the complete mix. In this, the influent and the recycled activated sludge, they are introduced at several points in the aeration tank. So, the organic load on the aeration tank and the oxygen demand, they are uniform throughout the tank length. This is about the complete mix. Next, coming to the tapered aeration type, here varying aeration rates are applied over the tank length depending on the oxygen demand, which means that a maximum amount of aeration or air is applied at the beginning, and as it passes we are going to say about towards the next aerobic process, there will be reduction in the oxygen level. What is an oxidation? We call it as a tapered aeration. Modified activated sludge by using different phasing of the air diffusers that uses long solids retention times. In short, it is called as SRTs. The influent to remove is introduced at several points in the aeration tank. It consists so that a long channel of an elliptical or circular shaped equipment. F/m ratio, a circular shaped equipment along with an aeration equipment called a rotor for generating a water flow, modified and stirring water in this is something which is similar to that of a conventional large area process, but as a simple structure that it has a shorter aeration time but with a higher F/m ratios. The aeration is normally for 1.5 to 2 hours, and it produces sludge which are compact and easily digestible. So from these types we can know that there are several factors which affect the activated sludge process. So the some of the factors which affect the activated sludge process includes the pH, temperature, the type of the reactor, amount of aeration, food microorganism ratio, nutrients, sludge recirculation rate. Now we will see the advantages of activated sludge compared to the other process. So the main advantages being it removes the suspended solids, and not only that, it also goes for nitrification, denitrification and phosphorus removal, which means that nitrate can be removed, phosphorus can be removed, and it also involves the liquid and solid separation. It removes the organics from the effluent, and also it is effective in removing the microbial pathogens from the sludge, that is from the treatment process. Next, coming to the disadvantages of activated sludge. So the main disadvantage is that when there is a change in the volume of sewage, suddenly when it happens, or when there is a sudden change in the sewage character, it overall affects the quality of the process. So the quality will be ultimately affected. Next, a disadvantage is that the operation cost is very high, and the sludge disposal is required on a large scale, and not only that, a skilled supervision, which means that a skilled person is required to see that whether the return sludge it remains active. If the return sludge is not active, then the process will not be efficient. Next, we are going to say about the next aerobic process, that is called as the oxidation ditch. What is an oxidation ditch? It is a modified activated sludge biological treatment process that uses long solids retention times. In short, it is called as SRTs, to remove the biodegradable organics. It consists of a long channel of an elliptical or circular shaped equipment. So it will have a circular shaped equipment along with an aeration equipment called a rotor for generating a water flow and stirring water in the channel to supply oxygen. It requires a large area but has a simple structure. The oxidation ditch, it is built on the surface of the ground and it is lined with an impermeable lining. This allows the wastewater to have plenty of exposure to the trickling filter for the diffusion of oxygen. So the liquid depth in the ditches is very shallow and it normally ranges from 0.9 to 1.5 meters, which helps to prevent anaerobic conditions from occurring at the bottom of the ditch. The wastewater, the oxidation distributed over the surface is then clarified in a secondary clarifier, and the settled sludge is returned surface area for biofilm formation. Desirable MLSS concentration. The MLSS concentration in the oxidation ditch generally ranges from 3000 mg per liter to 5000 mg per thickness. However, the biological film is rich in the surface area which is provided for sedimentation. Bacteria which are present in this biological film include longer retention time within the ditch. It will allow for a greater amount of organic matter to be broken down by the aerobic bacteria. And once the treatment is over, the wastewater will be pumped into the secondary settling tank, which have a thickness in the range of the sludge and the water. 100 pm. From there, the effluent it goes on to other treatment processes. This biofilm thickness increases, we'll see that what are the advantages of oxygen or going for the oxidation penetrate the medium. The constant water level and they develop discharge condition it will lower the via outflow rate and it eliminates the periodic effluent surge and it makes the technology reliable. So increasing biofilm growth along hydraulic retention time, the microorganisms which will reduce the impact to the surface or hydraulic thereby a portion of biofilm because of its extended biological activity during the activated sludge process, the oxidation is produced by less sludge system compared with other biological treatment process. For the process is energy efficient. The disadvantages being it requires a large area for the process, and also the effluents, suspended solids concentrations are very high compared to the other modification of the activated sludge process. So with this we come to the end of oxidation ditch. Next we are going to see an attached growth system which is called as a type called as trickling filter. It is an aerobic biological process for sewage and wastewater treatment. It is also called as biological trickling filter. This system it utilizes microorganisms which are attached to the material such as stones, slats or plastic to remove or degrade organic matter. The process it involves where the trickling filter it will contain a cylindrical tank and also along with that it contains a bed of coarse materials with high specific area such as rocks, slats, gravel, PVC bottles or preformed plastic material. The wastewater is distributed over the surface of the packing material by rotating arms. And the rocks, it provides a surface area for biofilm formation. So once wastewater is trickled, microorganisms they come in contact with the organics and metabolizes it. So this results in a slime layer thickness. So the biological film is rich in bacteria loading is 1 to 4. Bacteria whereas in intermediate filters biological 4 to 10 includes in high rate it is 10 to 40, flavor bacteria in super rate it is 50 to 90 and algae and in roughing it is 60 to 80. Eulothorax and in concentration of organic loading also some fungi in low rates it is 0.08 to 3.2 and in high rate it is 0.3 to 1 and in roughing it is above for the treatment process. So these hydraulic loading this biofilm organic loading increases it determines the type of filters. That next coming to what are the rough, so among all these filters the roughing filters they are a special type of trickling filters which are designed to operate at a high hydraulic loading rates. And these filters are commonly used to reduce the organic matter in the downstream processing and along with that the nitrification applications. So due to the high hydraulic loading there is continuous sloughing of the biological film. In such a case the unsettled filter effluent it can be recycled and this increases the efficiency of the treatment process. The retention time on the biofilm is less. Organic materials that are not readily degraded, they remain unaffected. So what are the advantages of this? So they have a low operating cost. The sludge removal is easy, low power requirements, efficient in removal of ammonia, and also they produce less sludge than the suspended growth systems. And the disadvantages are that if we go for a trickling filter treatment, the effluent cannot be discharged as such. It has to taken for some additional treatments to meet the discharge standards. Along with that, it also encounters odor and vector problem and also a high incidence of clogging. So with this we come to the end of trickling filters. Next we are going to see about the rotating biological drums. It operates on the principle of aerobic attached growth system, which is operated on the moving media. These rotating biological contracts are suitable for the treatment of domestic sewage and industrial effluent. These rotating biological contactors are also called as rotating biological filters or fixed bed reactors. So what is the main thing the rotating biological contactors contain? It consists of a stack of rotating discs which is mounted on a horizontal shaft. They are partially submerged and rotated as wastewater flows. They are used in conventional wastewater treatment plants as secondary treatment after primary sedimentation of the black water or any other biodegradable effluent. The microbial community is alternately exposed to the atmosphere and the wastewater, allowing both aeration and assimilation of dissolved organic pollutants and nutrients for their degradation. Next we are going to see the process how this rotating biological contactors they operate. When the process begins, microbes in the wastewater they attach to the rotating disc and grow until the entire surface is covered with 1 to 3 mm layer of biological slime. Rotation, it makes the disc to expose a film of wastewater to air. The wastewater it trickles down absorbing oxygen. Once the full rotation is complete, the film of water it mixes with the reservoir and increases or adds the concentration of oxygen, and also it mixes treated effluent with the partially treated one. The attached microbes they also take up the organics in the reservoir for breakdown when the rotating disc is submerged. Excess growth of these microbes is cut off, or removed microbes they fall into the reservoir. So in this way the RBCs they can achieve a biological oxygen demand reduction of 80 to 90%. Not only that reduces the biological oxygen demand, the RBCs are also capable of removal of nitrogen by nitrification process, and also subsequent denitrification is also carried out, because both the aerobic nitrifying bacteria and anaerobic denitrifying bacteria can simultaneously they can live in the attached biofilm. So and this depends on whether they are situated on the bottom of the film, are close to the disc support, or at the top of the film exposed to the air. Both aerobic and anaerobic microorganisms they can live in the biofilm and contribute to the removal of pollutant from the water. Some other microorganisms can also transform ammonia in one single step to gaseous nitrogen under anaerobic conditions. And we have also seen the biofilms growing on the rotating biological contractors, and these bacteria were called as anemox, and they result in the development of innovative aerobic ammonia removal process and also in the wastewater treatment process. Now we'll see what are the advantages of going for this RBC, or that is called as rotating biological contactors. They require a very low space. They require or they have high contact time with the effluent, and so they have the effluent quality is also high in case of both, in conditions of both BOD as well as in the nutrients. And this process has a high stability and it's also resistant to shock hydraulic or organic loading, and it requires only a very short contact periods because it has a very large active surface. And the drainable sludge, it can be easily collected in a clarifier and there is no risk of channeling, and the amount of sludge which is produced during this process is low. Coming to the disadvantages, there requires a continuous supply of electricity for this process, but it uses less energy than the trickling filters or activated sludge process compared to their degradation rates. And the contact media, it is not available in the local market, and you require a high investment for this process, as well as the maintenance cost is also very high. And this is very good, this type of filters are very good in the case of the conditions like where you should not have the sunlight. It must be protected against sunlight, wind and rain. Especially it's best, we have to against freezing in cold climates, we have to keep a very strong eye on this particular thing when there is a freezing temperature. And odor problems, it may occur, and it requires a permanent skilled person for the operation and maintenance. Students, today we have seen the different aerobic treatment process. The different systems we have seen today has its own advantages and disadvantages. The industry, it chooses the type of treatment depending on the wastewater and also on the efficiency of the treatment, so that the industrial wastewater which is left out, it meets the strict standards for disposal. The sludge produced during these aerobic treatments should also be treated and disposed properly. So with this, let me conclude the session aerobic process.